If you don't have a platform already, start small. If you only have 100 followers, why are you making a video that's 3 minutes long? You have no audience, at least not yet. Because people's attention spans are short. So if you already don't have an audience, you're posting a 2-minute videos. Think about the interactions you're gonna get. Think about how many people you're gonna draw in from that. So, I was telling, this person, I was like, I love your content. I watch your content because I am a fan of you. But like from what I know, like I got like known as Lit Dentist off of short videos. Like my videos were way less than a minute. I didn't start making minute-long videos until I got an audience.
Yeah. What's going on, everyone? My name is Meharry. Welcome to Mission of Medicine. Today I have an interview with a special guest from Meharry. His name is Christian Walker, aka Lit Dentist. Some of you all might be familiar with him with his content on TikTok and various social media platforms that he's on. He is on the dental side, so it's kind of cool that today to have a collaboration between the medical side and the dental side. So welcome to the podcast, Christian. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Thank you for having me, Christian. I am a second-year dental student here at Meharry. So we both are class of 27, so we'll graduate at the same time. I graduated from Texas A&M University, got a bachelor's in biomedical science, did a master's at Texas State, and then I ended up at Meharry.
Awesome. So we're going to dive deep into your story, get a little bit more detail about the journey, because, it wasn't a straight path, I'm assuming, to get here, right?
Yeah, no, it was a lot. And I definitely feel like I need to, dive deeper into my story because I feel like it inspired a lot of people because I initially gave a glimpse of it on my TikTok page, but so many people always reach out to me and was like, hey, you should do like a YouTube, going deeper because it's very encouraging and inspiring. So it's
Rightfully
great
so.
To be here.
Rightfully so. So we're going to tackle those points today on the podcast. So first and foremost, just tell the people about your journey, about undergrad, where you went and your major and what that was like for you. Okay,
so as far as my undergraduate journey, like I said, I graduated from Texas A&M. But to kind of, back it up a little bit, initially when I was coming out of high school, I had no plans of going to college. This had to be just something that God put in my life and was just here's this present for you.
Right.
But it really started because, mainly my upbringing. I'm born and raised in Waco, Texas. If anybody's from Waco, y'all understand me deeply on this. The way that I grew up, my life really wasn't centered around education. It was more so street involvement as far as just doing bad things, doing things that I had no business doing. So I think whenever I went through my trials and tribulations as far as my upbringing, when I got to my high school, which was, a suburban high school that my mother put me in, but it's kind of weird because it was I had been, in this poverty and stricken environment my whole life. And then, all of a sudden my mom had got married and then we were living in the suburbs. So that's kind of how I started to make that transition from being a bad kid and then I was a bad kid at a good school. Now I was doing better as the time went on. But to get back on to how I ended up at Texas A&M was, I was still bad when I went to, this school. I graduated from Robinson High School in Waco. But, it initially, I wasn't even going to graduate high school. But my late and great friend, Johnny Rogers, he had ended up committing suicide on the last day of school. And it was just so much trauma that came with that. And I think that the faculty there at the high school they really helped me out a lot because I was not supposed to graduate due to I had missed too many days of school. I was turning in work, all this different stuff. So they allowed me to still graduate, and I'm blessed for that. And then, as far as I in my eyes, I was winning because nobody in my family had ever graduated high school.
Okay.
So it was kind of like I won. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, this is it. Like
Right.
I got my high school diploma. I'm finna go get me a job. I'm gonna save up, give me an apartment. And my two closest friends at the time, well, they still my close friends, but Levante and Rick.
Okay.
They were both going off to play like sports at different schools. So I'm thinking, I mean, like I was, good enough to go to college to play sports, but I didn't know that I had to take like an ACT or SAT. I was just going to school. So, but I didn't know that you could still not take those and go to a community college. So I didn't know that. But one day they were just like, hey, like, well, my closest friend is almost like my brother Rick. He was like, I'm not going to play basketball no more at this school. I'm going to go with our other friend, Vontae, to, because he was going to a community college. So he's like, just come to the community college with us. And you just do a semester there. And I was like, nah. And they were just like, bro, like, you ain't finna do nothing else. Like, just come and try it. It kind of like, that's where like it really started.
Okay.
I don't know if I need to go deeper into that.
So you didn't decide to go to community college at that point?
No, I did.
You did?
I did.
But you didn't want to?
I did not want to.
Okay,
no.
I see. Okay.
So and then.
So at what point in your college journey did you realize that you wanted to pursue dentistry?
I knew right off the bat. That I always had an interest in teeth.
Okay.
But, I've been doing this for years. I would always look up like how much dental assistants make, dental hygienists make, and dentists make. And then I would go back and look up, okay, like how long does it take to be an assistant, a hygienist, and a dentist, right? And I remember I used to be in my dorm in the Northeast Hall at Trinity Valley, and it used to say like 12 years to become a dentist.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like this is 2015, so I'm like, dang, I ain't gonna be a dentist. I'm like 27. And it's crazy. It's like I'm actually gonna be a dentist in 2027. So I knew off the rip. I just it just didn't seem realistic at the time, being that I barely graduated high school, and now I'm like at that point in time, my mindset is like, all right, I was just shot in the dark, basically.
So along that journey, what was your preparation like with, once you started doing your research, all right, this is what I need to do, this is the X amount of years it's going to take for me to become a dentist. How did you start preparing yourself for the DAT in those exams?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I feel like there's a lot in between as far as like, because I really initially started, like I was like, okay, I love dentistry, I would love to be a dentist, but like I'm going to be realistic on myself. I'm going to just be a dental a dental assistant. And I was like, because I felt like that was like the easier path.
And what was, so because it was easier, that's why you thought the dental hygienist would be better?
Well, dental assistant. I started as dental assistant
Okay,
first.
dental assistant, okay.
So I was like, I'm going to do this because it don't take long. I can do it in a year.
Yeah.
So I was like, because I really, as far as like the educational side, I had low self-esteem. I was thinking, okay, like I barely graduated high school. There's no way I can become a dentist.
The self-doubt.
Yes.
So how did you overcome that self-doubt to kind of then rewire your mindset to say, all right, no, I'm going to go after becoming a dentist?
So it started with my first year of community college, right? And I was like, I went into junior college already thinking like everybody's smarter than me. So I made this rule to myself. I was like, I'm never going to miss a day of class. Because if I don't ever miss a day of class, there's no way I can fail. So it kind of started there. And then after my first semester, I had a 4.0. And I was like, I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to never miss class. I'm going to go to class, take notes. And then later, it got to like my third semester. And I was like, let me look into this dental hygiene program.
Yeah.
I think I might be settling with the dental assistant. And then I had ended up going like on a visit to like see some of my friends in College Station, which is where Texas A&M is. And I remember getting back and they called me to check on me and they was like, yeah, like, your time coming up at this community college, what you gonna do after? And I was like, I mean, I want to be a dental hygienist, but I was like, you know what? I'm coming to A&M. And they was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And they was like, okay, cool. They helped me apply. I remember I got accepted on Valentine's Day. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's how that happened. So then when was the pivot to the point where you start preparing? How was that process for the DAT itself?
DAT, okay.
Yes.
So I always want to kind of give like a little backstory because I want to cover as much detail as possible.
Yes.
Because I need the people who with the self-doubt to feel me.
Understand. Yeah. Connect with them.
So
this is the moment to do that. Yeah.
my transition from junior college to big university, Texas A&M. Before I even got to Texas A&M, I was like, I'm about to be a biology major. I couldn't tell you one element on the periodic table. And I don't think you're from Texas.
Nah.
But the people in Texas know. If you go to Texas A&M, Rice, University of Texas, those are kind of like the most prestigious schools in Texas. I would throw Baylor in there as well. So it's like, when you go to this, like, you have to understand when you're going to these schools, you're going to a bunch of top 10% like students. So I was like, okay. And I remember when I enrolled into like the chemistry course, they sent out this like, it's kind of almost as like a to get your feet wet type of course. It was like you learning the periodic table, you learning how to do conversions and all these different things, which was optional. But I was like, you know what, this is perfect. Like, God is like, keep sending me signs. So I was like, I don't know anything about chemistry, nothing. So I was staying up every single day that summer before I went. I used to walk to the Walmart and buy those little notebooks for like, you know, like the little 70-page notebooks, and I would just take notes, watch videos all day. It was kind of like, I almost felt like I was preparing for the DAT before I even knew about the DAT.
Okay.
So like, that kind of like helped shape my mind as far as like the chemistry and like just get my feet wet with the biological science part of it. And then like when I got to university, I suffered because I was like, this is not as easy as the community college. But I as I went through it, I was making adjustments, and I was like, you know, I was still on my same thing. I'm like, I'm not missing no classes. And, you know, I was failing at first. But once I started to, like, understand, like, how it works, I was like, I started doing a lot better.
So during the challenges when you got to university, what resources, what strategies and steps did you take to kind of get out of that rut?
Oh, investing time, like routine. Like routine, I can't, like, I did not understand it. Like, I understand it now. I think I just knew I needed a routine, but I think I understand it more now. Like, having a routine is like where it all starts because, bruh, like, I was putting in time daily. And like a lot of that stuff transitioned over to when I was taking the DAT. So it made it a lot easier for me. So that's why, you know, I always try to tell like people that ask me for advice. I'm like, man, if you don't have a routine, it's not gonna work. You gotta have routine. You gotta have the dedication and the motivation to do it all. But it starts with the routine. If you don't have the routine, it's gonna be hard.
Set the routine and then have the discipline to follow it.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. So that's real right there. So kind of as you were navigating your way through undergrad, were there different activities, involvement that you participated in that kind of geared yourself towards dentistry? And then along with that, how did you segue into the DAT?
Honestly, the classes were so hard to me, I didn't do much. I would say like the only thing that I did was, you know, partake in pre-dental society. That's mandatory if you're a pre-dental student. That's mandatory if you're a pre-med student. You know, get in a pre-med organizations or pre-health, pre-professional, whatever the case might be. But yeah, that, and I was just working in the lab. And then, you know, I got a lot of insight as far as like taking a DAT through my pre-dental society at Texas A&M because they got, you know, so many resources. And I think I kind of went into like taking the DAT or like studying for it like with the mindset of just like, oh, I'm gonna just take it, you know, just see how it is.
Yeah.
Which is like,
not the best way to go into it.
I was like, I'm felt like, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, I really failed myself when I did that. I failed myself, but yeah, you got to go into that with a full head of steam. You got to.
Were there any things in particular that you felt like you did during the admissions process? Because we're kind of trying to get to dental school in regards to like the process of what it took to get there.
Okay.
Was there anything that you did to make yourself competitive or navigate through the application process?
I wouldn't say anything particular. I think application was just a sound application.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had worked in a lab. I went to a prestigious school in Texas A&M, and I had a great, I mean, not a great GPA. I had a 3.4 GPA. And, you know, I always tell people that's applying to dental school, I can't really speak for the med side, but I'm like, yes, it's great to do a lot of things and have a lot of things intact to your application. But if you have all those things and you don't have that score,
It don't really matter.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I think the main part is focusing on the score.
Academics, yeah.
So, I mean, like, if you want to have a billion shot on hours, go ahead. But if that score ain't where it needs to be, then you just kind of wasted a lot of time. So I think the thing that made me stand out was my score, and I had like other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it was because I got that score. Like I was like, I'm getting this score.
Mm-hmm.
I got it, and the rest was history.
Did you end up taking a gap year before medical school, or did you go straight through after Texas A&M?
Okay, so this is my story. I hope that okay, my story is, okay, after I finished Texas A&M, my undergrad, I got accepted into a master's program at Texas State University, right? I was doing research over olfactory bulbs, some histology work. Since I had worked in the histology lab, they kind of recruited me and was like, you can oversee our histology department. And I'm like, cool.
Olfactory bulbs meaning like nose, nostril smelling. Okay.
Yes, and I forgot zebrafish, yeah. But yeah, so I don't know if anybody knows this, but like when you go into a research, they want you to prioritize it like it's your job, which is cool. But if my main goal is to become a dentist, you know, we had some run-ins like at some parts in my master's because, you know, they wanted me to prioritize time for the lab, and I was like, I'm gonna start studying for my DAT.
So wait, the master's program was a research program, or
it initially started as just masters of arts. I think that's what they call it.
Okay.
And then, you know, I took this class, endocrinology, and my professor, she was like, hey, like, you know, I can see you joining our lab. You know, you did histology for, you know, X amount of years, and, you know, we need help with the histology department. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So that's kind of how I got into that. And then, like, they transitioned my degree plan and geared it towards, like, a...
dentistry, for preparing for dentistry?
No.
Oh.
For preparing for help them with their research.
Oh.
So when you're doing a master's of arts versus a master's of science at Texas State, it's a little bit different. If it's arts, you're just taking classes, fulfill your degree plan, versus the science, you're like dedicated towards a research curriculum, and like you're really like just in the lab. It's kind of almost like dental school. Did
you feel like you had enough understanding about what that was at the time? Did you, like, if you, thinking about it now, would you have gone and done that same strategy and plan?
No, I feel like I wasted 2-3 years of my life doing that.
And the reason why I asked that is because, like, I know of a lot of people who consider doing post-bac programs, want to do post-bac programs thinking that they're going to help them get to the actual end goal where they want to, which is medicine or dentistry, whatnot, or whatever the case is. And then they end up, like you said, feeling like they wasted 2 or 1 year of their life. And I've also done a post-bac too, so I kind of understand like that type of feeling too. So it's interesting for people to hear that, because it's going to be really important for our viewers, the people who are listening in, if you are considering a post-bac, to really vet that program and making sure that it aligns with your goals and align with where you want to go in life.
I think programs like the one that Meharry has, the MHS, that programs like that are great. Like, anything outside of that really is kind of like iffy, because it's like, you know, had I not done that 2 years, I probably would have already been a dentist right now. Like if I would have just dedicated half that time to studying, I would have been, you know, I would have graduated dental school already. But it was like, I didn't really have a mentor to tell me that. So, and we didn't have, I don't think we had TikTok at the time, or if we did, I didn't know about it.
No, not during that era.
Yeah.
So, all right, after you've worked on your master's, worked in the histology lab research, what was that transitioning, moving on to getting towards dental school?
Man, I vividly remember that I planned my test and I was still in my master's program, but I had took that last summer off, and I was like, I'm just gonna grind. And I told them I can't come to the lab, I can't help y'all. Like if y'all want to kick me out, whatever. And they was like, okay, just think about it. I studied, and because with the DAT you get your exam like as soon as you finish, you see it on the screen. Score. So I took my exam, I saw that score, I was like, let me call these people real quick. And I called them and I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. Because I knew like with my score I was going to get in. So
that's good.
That was the end. That was the last time I heard from him.
Okay. And so how did you structure your application and starting to apply to different dental schools? How did you know, like did you only apply to a certain amount?
Had I known better, I would have. Mm-hmm. Had I known better, I would have. But I think when you're an applicant, you be so like worried that you're not going to get accepted. So I think I applied to 12 schools. Okay. 4 of those Texas. I applied to like Creighton, Oklahoma, LSU. Mm-hmm. Schools that I knew I wasn't going to get into. I don't know why I did that. But I also made sure that I had Howard and Meharry in my top 2 because that was like one of my biggest regrets of undergrad.
Not going to HBCU?
Not going to HBCU because I was like, everything there life just seems more simple. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I really had trouble, like, and if you know me, like I'm very outgoing, like I'm easy to talk to. So if I had trouble making friends there, then something was wrong. Yeah, something was wrong. So, great resources at Texas A&M though. Great resources. They got everything you need to succeed in life. But I just think the environment just wasn't to my liking.
Okay. So in regards to finally getting into dental school, what was that like? How did you find out about the schools that you got into during that season?
Man, I remember it was December 15th is like decision day for dental school. So I remember staying up, and the schools that I had got accepted to, they're on different times. Mm-hmm. So I remember it was December 14th or something like that, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay up all night just to see if I get an email. And I was like, I'm not gonna check my email, and I still checked it at like 10 o'clock or something, and I had acceptances. I was like, what? Yeah. But I forgot they were on a different time. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't sleep that night. I was like, dang. Like I ain't tell nobody out for like a couple of days. I was just like, I'm gonna let it soak in. But
interesting. I would have been around. But I was like, got accepted.
I was like, dang, like it's real. I kept looking at the emails. I'm like, what? Yeah. And it's just a surreal moment because then you start thinking like, I'm gonna be a doctor. Like I don't know any doctors at this point. So it's like, it's kind of crazy to think about. It's almost like if you were preparing for the NBA, and it's like, they tell you you're gonna be like somebody sends you an email and be like, okay, you're gonna get drafted tomorrow. Like that's kind of crazy. It's almost like the same feeling.
And you literally have to pack everything up and move to wherever you're going to.
You got 2 months.
Was this your first time moving out of Texas?
Yes, first time moving out of Texas. First time and very interesting. I grew up in Waco, so I feel like the community that I grew up in, we don't really do a lot of moving around. Mm-hmm. Like, I probably could put my money on it that my grandma has never been out of state. The furthest she's probably been is to Houston, if that. So same with my mom. So it was kind of weird, because I didn't start traveling for real until 2019 or something like that. Okay. So to move to a whole nother state at first, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Yeah. So
being away from home, being away from family. Yeah. The
food. Oh my God.
It's a transition for everything.
Is where are you from?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay, so y'all got good food up there.
Yes, DMV. Yeah.
The food out. Okay, I feel like Tennessee don't be holding it down for the South. People consider them the South, but I'm like, it don't feel like it. Really. It don't really feel like it to me. But Memphis do. Memphis, they hold it down. But Nashville, I don't know.
So in regards to academics, starting your first year of dental school, what was that transition like coming back from doing a master's, working in research, now coming off and finished studying for the DAT? and getting accepted to your first year of dental school? What was that transition like?
The transition felt like when I went from junior college to the big university times 10. Because I ain't gonna lie, I came from Texas A&M, so I'm thinking, I'm good. Like this is gonna be light work. Man,
let's dive into that a little bit.
Man, when I tell y'all, I got humbled so bad. Like, I took gross anatomy. We took gross anatomy our first semester in dental school. It's a reason that class is like 13 credit hours. I remember when we were taking the first exam, we had class from like 8 to 10. And she gave us 2 hours. She was like, get y'all some additional studying in. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, I studied all week. I'm chilling. Everybody's studying. I'm just kicked back on my phone. Man, it's the lowest score I ever got in my life. Lowest score ever. And, from that moment, I was like, all right, dental school is next level. I got to step my game up a lot. And, yeah, if you don't, you'll drown quickly because like dental school is hefty. Like it's really hard.
So what in particular did you feel like was hard about the first year of dental school? And this is considered the didactic years.
Yes.
So the first 2 years of didactics?
Yeah, like first 2.5.
Okay. So during this didactic period, what was like some things you could say is different and how do you adjust to that?
You got to start thinking deeper. Like it's not like in undergrad where it's like, what nerve is this, what muscle is this? It's a lot more technical and it dives way deeper. You'd be lucky if you get a question like that in dental school, at least at Meharry. Like at Meharry, they training you to be the doctor who knows everything. So that's what I tell people. I'm like, I feel like Meharry is training dentists to be surgeons almost, because it's like we learn what the medical students learn. Like we learning what y'all learn. And then I go and ask like other dental students and they're like, oh yeah, we had a 10-question exam and it was just over the muscles. I'm like, what? I'm like, really? But yeah, you got to start thinking critical. Like you got to be able to be like, okay, if a patient gets a laceration here, like how does that affect the rest of the body? You know what I'm saying? And how does that limit that patient's mobility or, drainage to this or like movement for a different muscle? Like you really have to be able to conceptualize the entire thing versus just knowing that's axillary nerve or something like that. So
it's literally like taking the concepts and being able to apply it in different applications.
Yeah, if you can't do that,
yeah,
just don't even come to Meharry because you're not. It's tough out here for real.
So with that being said, what study techniques have you actually utilized to master the material? What is your study strategies that you found most effective for the first 2 years?
Okay, so my first year, since I kind of came in with a big head, I was still kind of using like study strategies from my undergrad, which was just like reps, like just remembering. But now I like gross anatomy kind of gave me PTSD. So now I'm in a mindset to where I'm like, okay, let me, instead of like using reviews and like other people's notes and things like that, I go and I kind of do like my own dissecting now. So like reviews and things are cool, but like you got to be comfortable enough to open up those lecture slides, open up that book and like really understand it. And if you don't, go to YouTube because they got videos on everything. So, I start out by, first of all, reading the lecture slides because, I feel like people they'll use other resources like reviews and things like that and be like, oh, well, like I missed this concept. Because you didn't read the lecture slides. So read the lecture slides. Some people like Anki. I love Quizlet. Quizlet is like
Quizlet guy.
Quizlet is like the new thing. Like Quizlet is like the best thing out right now. I make Quizlets or I'll use somebody's old Quizlets, like just so I can apply it.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I'm making sure I understand it. Okay, like if this happened, this and this, And then the third thing is study group. Like you got to have a great study group. Make sure your study partners are smarter than you. But yeah, that's kind of my approach nowadays versus just, reps and remembering everything. It's not really effective.
In kind of touching on study groups and just like people in general in class, I know you had mentioned you really wanted to put Howard and Meharry on the list for schools just to be able to attend a HBCU. How have you felt the culture and environment within your class has been within Meharry?
I feel like the camaraderie at Meharry is just amazing. Like, I don't know if other schools have this type of vibe there.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously everybody have their group of friends that they kick it with, but like as far as like, at least I'm speaking from my class, as far as like when everybody come together, it's all love.
That's good.
It's not like, okay, because me and you don't hang out, like we gonna be weird. Yeah. Or it's like, even if we feel like me and you had, you know, some disagreements in the past, it's not like I'm gonna be like, it's still all love. It's all like we all hug each other. Like, I just feel like it's hard for me to imagine that other schools are the same way, because, you know, I have friends at other schools, and it just, from what I hear, it's just, I'm really glad I chose Meharry.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different type of vibe here.
How do you balance academics, work life, personal life, and content creation? We're going to dive into content creation later, but how do you balance all those things and be a dental student?
This is going back to routine. Like, every day I have a set routine. Oh, it's a little bit washy right now because we just got we just finished the semester, but you know, we got class 8 to 5. You know, I'm going to the gym. I'm eating library. You know, if I got time for a pre-dental panel, I'm knocking it out at the library on Zoom. But it's just, I kind of just, I'm really like the routine, like you'll be surprised like how far it'll take you, seriously. So I think as far as like what content creation is, I don't really have to like balance it out, since I'm just so authentic on my social media that I don't really have to plan out a lot of stuff. It's just like I can make the video right there and it can be good. But it's just because like, I don't know, you're
documenting like, the process.
Yeah, you know, it's just the process. It's like not like I have it written on my board or something. It's just like, oh, I thought about this. Let me make this video. Yeah. So
makes sense. How are you able to stay motivated during challenging times in dental school? Because it's not easy doing professional school here at Meharry or anywhere. I think professional school, like you said, it requires a certain level of understanding the material, balancing all the aspects and things that we have to do and juggle. So how do you stay motivated during those times when it get rough?
First of all, I just want to touch base on this. Yes, like dental school, medical school, it requires like a different like type of person. Like, you really have to make yourself into like that him. Like, you have to be him to get into like a school like this. So
get into and get through.
That's
the one thing we always say. It's so hard to get in, but it's like, bro.
Oh, that's the easy part. Getting into dental school is the easy part. Probably the same for medical school. But you know, I was telling my classmate the other day, because you know, I try to give advice, like, you know, one-on-one advice to like anybody who reach out to me. So I was, you know, having a conversation with this pre-dent, and I was just like, you know, like, if you didn't do well on your DAT, that's fine. Like, you still have time. But what you do from this point, from today on, is going to determine what's going to happen. And I said, I think you should do this, and this. And that person was like, I don't think I can do that. And I was like, really? And then I started thinking, I'm like, bro, I was telling my classmate, like, bro, I think we're like different, like a different level of people. Like, because if I would have told you that, you would have said, okay, cool, I'm finna lock in right now. Like, if you just really wanted to be here. But anyway, that's besides the point.
I mean, you bring up a good point there. I would say, like, there's a level of maturity that is required for professional school, right? There's a level of maturity and understanding of, like, all right, this is the type of work and energy that I want to put into this. And some people don't have that framework yet in their mind. And sometimes that's why I think sometimes taking a gap year, taking a couple gap years before you start professional school should be a requirement for some people, because if they would have came straight in, they might have not made it through.
That's true. That's a great point. That's a great point right there. Because I feel like that with me too. Even if I would have locked in right out, I don't know if I would have been ready for it mentally. So, but what keeps me motivated, oh my gosh, my mentors. my mentors never cease to like let me be down. So, you know what, and it's in ways that they don't even know. It's like my mentor, he'll call me, Dr. Q, shout out Dr. Q. He'll call me. He in Dominican Republic. He's chilling, living his best life. I'm like, dang. He's like, bro, I love everything you doing. Like, keep up the good work, bro. He always send me messages like, bro, we gonna go crazy. Like, this is gonna be like the biggest thing that's ever happened in dentistry.
Yeah.
So it's like my mentor is keeping me on my. Also, shout out Dr. Jess. Dr. Jess also basically one of my mentors. They just do a really great job of keeping me motivated. Always commenting on my stuff. Never feeling like, you know, to other people they might feel like, you know, if somebody from the outside looking in, they might be like, oh, like they big time. You know, they ain't doing that. But like, no, they really go out of their way and text and call and be like, hey, keep it up, bro. Like, I appreciate you for coming to the office. Like, like it just be like stuff like that.
The little things like that.
Yeah. And then you go, you know, you see their cribs and their cars and stuff. And you're like, I'm gonna get that same car. But
yeah.
No,
that's definitely good because you get to see, like, all right, these are people that look like me. These are people that I relate to, connect with on a level that is different, and they're where I want to be.
Yes.
And that's a strong motivating factor, so that's definitely a good point there. So you talked about a little bit of mentorship. How were you able to foster these connections with a Dr. Q, a Dr. Jess, people in the field? How were you able to make these connections?
Being intentional and persistent, because I feel like, you know, I contacted Dr. Q before I even met him, and you know, he responded and was like, yeah, because I asked him, was it cool if, like, you know, me and some other Meharryans pull up to his like grand opening for Art of Aesthetics in Atlanta. And unfortunately I couldn't make it, but I could have just said, okay, that's it, like I didn't go and meet him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, I continued to follow like his work, and, you know, he would post stuff and I'd be like, how did you do that? Like, how did you make her lip, like, make it to where like her smile look like it's full? He was like, you know, we're gonna do this program, we're gonna, you know, talk about like things like that more. So I was like, cool. And I was like, dang, I used to always try to find ways like to just pick his brain, you know? And then luckily, during the OKU ceremony, I don't know if they have that on the med side. It's like the Omega Kappa Omicron.
Okay,
it's like
Honor Society.
Honor Society. Dr. Dave.
He went to Meharry.
He went to Meharry as a dentist, implant dentist. He came to do a speech here, and he brought Dr. Q with him, and I was like, perfect. And I was like, yo, I just walked up to Dr. Q, and I was like, yo, like I hit you up about, you know, coming to shadow or whatever. And he was like, oh, and he remembered, he was like, lock me in, bro. And then ever since then, it's just been all love.
And Dr. Q, he's a very approachable person. So.
Yeah, yes, that too. I feel like, because a lot of people, I mean, if you know me, you know Dr. Q, and I feel like that's kind of somewhat to the point since so many people know him for me. And it's like, they come to me and they're like, you know, how is it? I'm like, just go talk, like he's right there, just go say what's up. Like, he is not that type of person to be like, oh, I'm too big for anybody. Like, he handshake and hug with everybody. I feel like me and him got a lot of common. Like, even for me, I feel like some people, like, they'll see me, even though I'm not that, you know, big, they'll see me and just side eye me. I'm like, what's up, man? Like, like, what's you good? Like, let's.
I do feel like when it comes to like being a content creator and having a following and audience, it comes with a certain flack of like, oh, they might think they're better than other people or they're too good. But it's like, no, we're just regular people. We create content and we love what we do and we like to connect with the people. Yeah. So it's nothing like that. It's no arrogance or anything at that point, you know? No.
I mean, I've met I've met a good amount of famous people. Me personally, I haven't ever experienced like them being overly arrogant. Yeah. It's mostly just you scared to go up to them and be like, hey, like, my name is so and so.
Just be respectful and approach people with, you know, just like how you would talk to your friend. But going back to, I guess, other mentorships, how have you been able to build those over time? So it's one thing to connect with them, but how do you continue that organic relationship over time in building a mentor-mentee relationship?
With me, I feel like I don't keep it just work. You know, I don't, like, the times that I do talk to Q or Jess, it's not just all about, like, oh, like, what should I do for this case? Or like, how did you do this? Like, how did you do your crown? That's cool.
Humanize the relationship.
Yeah, it's like, but I'm like, bro, we need to get this jet. Or I send him a watch. I'm like, bro, Q, you need to get this. Like, this watch is nice. And it's like, we'll call each other and just be like, man, what you doing?
Yeah.
What you on, man? And it's like, man, he'll tell me about a case, and I'm like, man, I think you should. I think I even kind of tried to give him an idea one time. I'm like, man, I think you should do this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like I try to. Everything is really just genuine.
Yeah.
And I make sure my mentors are like okay, so I have like a mentor as far as like my main mentor, and then I got a mentor for like, if I want to go to and like talk about like just like owning the practice, like or like starting ownership with like DSOs, because like that's what she does. I'll do that, and like me and her are still cool, like we're still cordial. I'll text her like, Dr. Lulu Wang, Dr. Lulu. Edit that part out. Dr. Lulu, shout out Dr. Lulu. But yeah, she cool people, but it's like I don't just keep it all work.
Gotcha, makes sense. So in regards to being a first generation dental student, how have you felt mentorship? Have you benefited from that mentorship?
Benefiting from their mistakes. And I think I didn't have a lot of that, trying to get to dental school. So that's why I try to be an anchor as far as like that part, and like to other pre-dents or people that's trying to get to even be a pre-dent. But I think that's the best part about it now, especially since I'm about to be like in a real world, working on real people. And I think it'll be like very beneficial to from this point going forward.
Mm-hmm. And so you have mentioned, you're going to soon be practicing. Do you have an idea what type of dentistry you want to practice?
I am 100% going to do cosmetic dentistry. I feel like all of my life I have been a very artistic person. And I just feel like because of my upbringings, I never got a chance to like really tap into like the artistic side or artistry side of it. But now that I'm here and I'm growing and I'm in dental school, it's kind of a relief that I get to, do dentistry, and it's like I'm doing these different things with my hands. I'm like, oh, it's so cool because, I've always been like artsy, but I just never, had the chance to like actually do artistic things.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Gotcha. In regards to being a first generation student, I had saw on your TikTok you had posted that sometimes you feel like as a first generation professional student in dental school that sometimes maybe your family members don't understand what that's like and what type of support that could be possibly needed here and there sometimes. Could you explain what you meant by that?
I just feel like as far, just as I think this might just be a African American thing. I think it might be because I compare, what I'm going through to like, some of my other friends that's going through the same thing. And it's like their parents would never do this, or their family would never do like certain things. But you can't necessarily blame, I really can't put the blame on my family sometimes, especially my mom, because my mama don't know until I tell her. So, but it's like, some people in my family, they can help in other ways as far as like, as far as the finances part. Like, I feel like that takes a huge burden off of anybody that's in medical or dental school, because you going 4 years, you really can't do any type of work, versus, if it's somebody in undergrad, like if you just getting your undergraduate, like you can work, like you got enough time to do 20, 30 hours a week. But as far as like the dental and medical field, it's kind of tough. I mean, like my mother, she gives me all the support that I need. I will say that my mother, my older brother, and my other brother. But it's like, sometimes I just get down because, I'll see like, some of my family members, they do all this raving about like congratulating me and stuff online. But I'm like, like you never called me. You never checked on me. You probably don't even know how many years I have. You probably don't even know what city I'm in. So it's like, it'd be like the little things that sometimes bother me. Like, dang, like people say they love me so much, but where am I right now?
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm at? Like, when the last time you checked on me?
Have you really showed up? Have you really supported?
But it's like, as soon as I post an accomplishment, it's like, you're the first person to reshare it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
you know, a little pocket money, a little change here and there could go a long way.
Bro,
it doesn't have to be just that either. You could check in too. Just send an encouraging text message. You know, keep us motivated. I've experienced that too. There's some times where I felt like there are family members who I think could do a little bit more.
Yeah.
But you know, that's those conversations can get tricky.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for aspiring dental students who are considering entering the field?
Routine. Get that routine down early. Make sure you are serious about it, because I feel like I feel like that helps you mature as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like the moment that I was like, you know, I'm gonna get serious about this right now, I matured quick, because I realized, you know, how much far that I would be behind, like how much further I would be behind if I didn't. So I feel like the sooner you get serious about it, the better off you'll be, the faster you'll mature, the quicker you'll become a doctor, and the easier it will be.
So Christian, how do you stay organized and manage your time best in dental school?
Notability. First of all, I organize all of my notes through Notability. My life is literally on my iPad. You got to utilize those apps that are built for scheduling. I'm a big fan of Google Calendar. I set alarms every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every week I have a huge whiteboard in my house. And whether it's for like, first of all, I got 2 whiteboards. I got one that I write everything I want to accomplish by this month. So I do it month by month. And then anything that's like weekly basis, I have a whiteboard on my fridge. Mm-hmm. And let's say I might have an oral path exam coming up. I'll do, you know, start studying like 4 or 5, 6 days ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So, or I'll just remind myself every day do Quizlet. Every day make Quizlet. Like, I'll do like little stuff like that to kind of keep my brain like seeing the same stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like exercising too plays a huge part in me staying organized, because it keeps me, it keeps me focused.
Interesting.
Yeah, it keeps me focused.
I get that. I mean, like, it refuels your mind. It keeps it refreshed.
Yes.
Keeps you
yes.
locked in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to kind of segue into the content creation, because we're sitting here with lit dentists.
Okay, cool.
So moving away from a student Dr. Walker, but to lit dentists.
Yeah.
So we're in the world of content creation. What inspired you to launch your brand, Lit Dentist?
I think it honestly started with Dr. Rose. That was like the first inspiration that I saw. And
he's also a cosmetic dentist.
He's also a cosmetic dentist in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And I think when I saw him, I was like, he kind of lit. If you seen him and you didn't know him, you'd be like,
is he a rapper?
Is he a rapper? Is he what is he? And I just thought, like, the whole concept, I'm not going to say like I like stole his style, because I feel like we have different styles. But I feel like he sparked that in my head that, like, oh, like, dentists can be lit? Like, dentists can be...
It's not just ball players.
It's not just ball players. Like, dentists are cool. And I was like, lit dentist. Like, I can be the lit dentist. So I think it kind of started there. And honestly, I wasn't even into content creating. I was not into content creating at all. Like, if you go look at my videos... If you scroll all the way down, it's just me posting random stuff from when I was like doing vacations in my gap year. But my classmate, shout out Tooth Fairy Kara, she taught me basically how to use TikTok like in the right way. Mm-hmm. So she taught me how to use TikTok, CapCut, all those different editing tools, and like gave me, you know, the rundown on like the sounds and the text and like how to do like it's so much to social media that I didn't know. I used to just think that you could just post with any song and maybe one day it'll pop, but it's like it's a lot more logistics that go into it. Mm-hmm. So it started there for sure.
So what specifically led you to stay more consistent on TikTok than other platforms?
I realized that my story was like very rare. I realized my story was very rare. And people, like I feel like a lot of people don't like they give their insight on dentistry, but there's a big gap of people that you're missing. So it's like a lot of people their upbringing isn't as structured as most people. Like let's put it that way. Like if I'm speaking as far as like minorities, it's a lot of stuff that we don't know because when I was coming to dental school, I didn't know anything. It was like I was doing it with my eyes closed. I was just like going and like whatever came, I just kind of dealt with it. And my mentor at the time, I had like a semi-mentor because we were like both going through the same situation at the same time. So it was like the little stuff that she found out, she told me, which is actually how I learned about Meharry.
And sometimes the mentors don't gotta be far down the line. Like it could be someone just right above you.
Yes, Dr. Q is only 1 year older than me, so it's like, and my mentor, she's probably might be older than her, honestly, to be honest, but. Yeah, she was just, further progressed than I was, but, we would bounce stuff off of each other. But, I think that, I realized, like, how interesting my story was and try to just give, like, people a lot of, like, advice that a lot of people are not saying and, like, try to put things to perspective. Like, there's a reason that it's this way. It's because of this.
Yeah.
And... yeah, it just people just liked it, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna keep doing it.
What have you found to work the best in connecting well with your audience?
I think I don't know if other people think this way, but I feel like I talk about things that nobody really talks about. As far as like the whole dental side of TikTok, a lot of it is really kind of cliche. Outside of K Chung, I really love her work. K Chung is very unique. Like if you look at her videos, it's like something you've never seen before. Also like Carson Tooth Fairy. I'm doing a lot of shout outs here. I love Carson. But like if you go and look at like all the the people that I'm naming TikToks, it's stuff that nobody is doing.
Okay.
It's like,
so you found a unique way to kind of put something in the market that wasn't there, like these other folks that you just named, to kind of make your mark. Yeah,
and it's not like the typical, like when you think dentist, it's not like typical. And as far as like black men, period. Well, like I could probably count on my hands how many of us on TikTok. Yeah. So,
what tips do you have for health professional students who want to start their own brand or content creation online?
I think that somebody actually, when I was in a club in DC for Howard Homecoming, somebody asked me the same exact question.
Wow.
And I told them, and this is in my opinion, if you don't have a platform already, start small. If you only have 100 followers, why are you making a video that's 3 minutes long? You have no audience, at least not yet. I think you should start small. Like, because people's attention spans are short. So if you already don't have an audience, and mind you, this is my opinion, if you already don't have an audience and you're posting 2-minute videos, think about the interactions you're going to get. Think about how many people you're going to draw in from that. So, I was telling, this person, I was like, I love your content. I watch your content because I am a fan of you. But, like, from what I know, like, I got like known as lit dentist off of short videos. Like my videos are way less than a minute. I didn't start making minute-long videos until I got an audience. Yeah. And I was like, you start short, then like get people to like you. And you get I think you need 1,000 followers on TikTok to go live. Yeah. You go live and then you build an audience from that.
I do. That's one thing. I see you go live pretty often.
Yes.
What's the thought behind that?
I think every time you go live, you get a new person.
Okay.
So it's like somebody finds you and they think you're interesting. So it's like, that's the biggest thing. But I think you kind of also have to have some structure around your lives. Like, I don't think you should just be on there just sitting. Like my classmate, I told her, I was like, you're into beauty. Think about how many women on TikTok. 80% of my people that follow me are women.
You'll need to unlock your iPad first.
Okay. But yeah, I was just like, go live. People will find you. Do interesting things. Study. Like, do things that people do. Like, don't just get on there and just stay on there and read the comments. Then it's like, you really can't.
Interact, engage, talk to them. Gotcha.
And as you do that, you will slowly build an audience. I remember I started going live. I had 4 people on there. Now sometimes I get on there, it's 400 people. So
wow.
it's like,
I've seen also that you've started this new content series called Dear Diary.
oh yes.
What has that been about? Like, what inspired that, and how have you found that to be effective?
It's because I want to journal. I really do. But I can't get into it. Like, I'm not, like, I have a journal in my backpack. I never touch it. And it's like, my classmate, again, another shout out Lauren, student Dr. Waller. She did that same video, and I was like, I love this sound. But I was like, you know what? I have so much to say over this sound. And she kind of did the same thing. And I was like, you know what? I told her, I was like, I'm going to steal your idea. And I did it, and it was like, everybody loved it. And I was like, dang, it's kind of crazy. But, yeah, that's another thing. It's like, a lot of my videos is like not planned. Like, you know, when I saw the sound, I was like, I texted her right there. I said, I'm finna do a video over this. And I did it right there. And like, people loved it. And it's like, now it's I want to do it more because it really is like my inner thoughts, like what I'm thinking at the time. And it's like, yeah, it's my favorite series right now.
I feel like it's definitely like branded. That's Christian's thing right there. The Dear Diary series. So that's awesome. What are some theories in dentistry that you've used your platform to kind of debunk?
Oh, sheesh, theory.
Or some misconceptions that are out there? I know you've touched on like the veneers, porcelain.
Yeah, I was gonna say porcelain. Okay, my thing with porcelain and composite veneers, is that I think people just get the wrong idea about veneers, and I feel like in a way it makes dentists look bad because, you know, like, you might want to save money. You that might be the case, and you go and you get these composite veneers, right? And then they look great. I'm a dentist, so I have a dentist eye. So to me, I can see composite veneers and be like, those are horrible. But, you know, to a person that doesn't have the same eye as me, they're white, like they're very like eye catching. So to them, that's nice.
Yeah.
But the people who know. So the thing that I just dislike about it is that, you know, so many people run to get them. And I don't think they realize, like, first of all, after a year, you're going to start looking at them different. You know, you're going to start seeing yellowing and, you know, all these different things.
Oh, no.
And once you see somebody who got veneers done the right way, you're going to be like, dang. It's kind of like if you had an opportunity to buy a Dodge and then you see a Hellcat and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same, but not really.
Yeah.
Like, it's a difference. Like, they're both veneers, but like, do you want somebody to look at you and be like, who did your teeth? Or do you want to look at somebody, or do you want somebody to look at you and be like, you have really nice teeth? That's the difference between composite and porcelain, in my opinion.
In that same vein, what's your thoughts on veneer techs? How do you think they've been impacting the field of dentistry?
I think that they should make it, I think they should crack down on it more. I feel like the people that are veneer techs aren't taking it serious. And I kind of hate that for the patients that are going to them, because it's like they're both ignorant, you know, as far as like the situation, because like you might just want, you know, nice teeth. And I think you could find a dentist that will work with you. And it's like the veneer techs who's doing the whatever they call it, salon veneers is what I like to call them. They don't understand like the long-term detrimental effects that they could be, you know, displaying upon your body. And I think they just think, you know, I'm just putting a cap over your teeth. But, you know, if you think about your body, like nothing gets in your body unless you open your mouth. So all the diseases and all these different things that you get, it starts with what you put in your body. So I think the feds need to drop another RICO case, man.
Being one of the top dental students that's making content right now at Meharry, how have you navigated the process of making content when you initially started? Did you have any anxiety or any pressure that you felt like, ooh, I'm filming my journey here. Should I do this? Should you have any worry about that?
Yes, I did have anxiety at first. I won't lie. And I used to film things like scripted, and I used to be, because I used to see other dental students. I'm like, everything just seems so scripted. Like you, and I used to ask my classmates, like, when you made that video, did you write it out? And they're like, yeah, like I type it out first, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try that. But it just don't work for me. Like I feel like I'm better off just being authentic. Like I might have an idea, and I might just, like if I'm thinking about making a video, or like if I think about something that has to do with like veneer techs and I don't know, like equipment, I'll just put veneer equipment. Like I don't really like just script it all out.
Got you. Is there anything in particular you would have done differently as you built your brand?
Ooh, I wish that. Ooh, that's a great question. When it comes to building my brand, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would have got into it sooner. I feel like I am early.
Yeah.
But just imagine it had I would have started day one of D1, like most people are doing. Like I started second semester of my D1.
Okay. So there's been word and talks about a potential TikTok ban coming in 2025. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
What's your thoughts on that? How are you preparing to navigate and adjust to that if that does come to fruition?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to find. I don't know. I'm thinking about going to YouTube.
Okay.
I'm thinking about going to YouTube, but because I have cameras that I rarely use. I mainly use them for pictures, but it's like I feel like in order to get that top notch like content with YouTube, you gotta have like a real camera.
That's the misconception, though. Like, really? I feel like you could start a YouTube channel with an iPhone. There's plenty of people that started their YouTube channel with an iPhone, and you don't even have to do that. You have a Canon G7X. I've seen it. Yeah. And so with the Canon G7X, I started my YouTube channel with the Canon G7X all of undergrad. That's how I vlogged. I vlogged my way through it and built my, up to 3,500 subscribers. So the Canon G7X can take you a long way. Really? You'd be surprised. Really? So just don't make any excuses.
Okay. Well, yeah, if they ban TikTok, I already got the YouTube channel made. Yeah. I don't know the handle to it, but it's made. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to ban it for real.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to get some things straightened up in Congress and figure that out and make a sale or whatever. Give us some time. So we'll see. Is there any future plans for Lit Dentists? After you graduate, or where you want to take your brand now while you're still here? Anything we should look out for?
Ideally, and I think this has become a dream at this point, is to work with, one of the greatest cosmetic dentists in the world, in Dr. Q, and just be up under his wing and learn from him. I feel like it would almost be a dream of mine, literally, if I could do that soon as I graduate and kind of, just be under the art of aesthetics umbrella, just because I love the brand in its entirety. Even the staff, actually I was texting their assistants yesterday, and I'm just I was thinking dang, we just have such great chemistry, but I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. I mean, I remember when I interviewed Dr. Q, he had mentioned that he did an apprenticeship after he had graduated from Howard Dental School and was able to learn the trade of cosmetic dentistry. So, I mean, that might be you.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I would like to say this, because there's a lot of people out there that think, okay, this person is a dentist, so they can do my veneers. That is not the case. And I'm going to put it to you this way. Everybody has clothes. Everybody don't know how to dress. So just because that person is a dentist does not mean that they do great veneers. So just like how we all have access to the same food, everybody's food don't taste good.
Yeah. It takes a certain eye. It takes a level, a certain skill set to master that. So
it literally is an art. You have to be able to look at something and determine if it looks good or not. So that's just something to be mindful about for the people out there that's just feel like they can go to any dentist and get veneers. Make sure you go to somebody that's a specialist and know what the heck they doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, diving into some hot takes as we wind down this interview. I saw one of your videos that you had made where you had said that someone had commented on your video saying that people who get released from jail get more support than people who are out and about. So what was your take on that? What did you mean by that?
Man, maybe it's I don't know.
Let me actually say the exact thing.
Okay.
You made a video saying someone commented under your video saying that people who go to jail come home and get more support than people who went to college.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
I think that we got to start a new wave. We got to start a new wave because I'm tired of seeing it. And I feel like it kind of makes me feel like, well, like, what am I doing? Like, do you not understand, like, as a medical profession, like as a medical student or a dental student, first of all, there's like, how many people who apply to medical school?
I don't even know, bro. I don't know the stats, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Thousands.
I can tell you dental school, it was 3,000.
Yeah.
I'm one of that 3,000.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is?
3% acceptance rate to med school.
That's really hard. So being that I'm from Waco, getting into dental school from my community has to be like one of the greatest accomplishments. Like, to me personally, I don't know how they feel about it, but it's just like, I feel like that does a lot for the city of Waco where I'm from. People do show like their gratitude in ways, but it's just like, I feel like when you compare it to like the people who did 2 years in jail for running somebody over or some crazy stuff, the gratitude that they get when they come home, it just doesn't add up in a way.
Yeah, I know. We always see the free X, Y, and Z in the bios.
Yeah.
Shout out this person.
And I'm like, what he did?
People in the comments when a murder is announced, oh, free this person, free that person. But it's like, bro, what are we glorifying?
Yes.
Like, please make it make sense.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I really don't like that side of social media.
Mm-hmm. So I've seen lately there's been announcement of one of the cosmetic dentists. He has his own reality TV show on Zeus.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like dentistry should be showcased on a network like that, as far as reality TV show?
I feel like dentists lately, like, they all have hidden agendas. I feel like, do you really want to be a dentist, or did you want to be like an actor or something? But you just kind of use it as a gateway. Me personally, I don't see myself doing it, but I can't knock it. Mm-hmm. I just am like, every dentist is a rapper now, or it seems that way.
Yeah.
And me personally, I don't understand it, but I don't get it as well, because it's like, you went through all of that for what?
Maybe they want to expand their audience. Maybe it's another way to like get clientele. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's. I feel like if you. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's cool, but I don't understand it from a dentistry standpoint. Mm-hmm. Like, what's, you know what I mean? Like, what's trying to happen here?
Rebranding, I guess, making dentistry seem cool.
Okay.
In a different light.
That could be a way.
Yeah.
That could be a way. I could see that.
Yeah.
But it's like the type of patients that you're going to, like, what type of patients do you want to, like?
And that's the thing, too. Like, everybody has their different audience that they are catering towards, or their demographic, their customer pool that they're trying to aim towards. So maybe,
okay,
you know, I feel like from a lens, it could be good in one aspect, and in another aspect, it could potentially be, you know, negative to the field. But as far as professionalism, you know, I don't know. So you had made a TikTok about you were dating, or you were talking to this Nigerian girl.
Okay.
And potentially that you felt like there was some type of like animosity that if they're not bringing home a Nigerian or somebody that is within their culture, and there's an African American that they're bringing home, their parents or their family may not be accepting.
Yes.
When did you felt like that was a thing? Like,
honestly, I've always felt like this.
Okay.
Well, I ain't gonna say always because I really kind of got in that realm when I got to undergrad, and I have talks with my friends who are from other countries, and I try to just get them to get me on the same level that they are, but it just whenever it's explained, it almost seems as if it comes off as is like where my culture is better than yours, and I'm just like, I don't think that's like, right, because you're here.
Yeah.
And that's the part I don't understand. I'm like, okay, if you're from Egypt and you love your culture and you feel like it's way better than America, then it doesn't make sense why you're here.
I just feel like it's a level of pride, probably. I'm from a Caribbean background, Jamaican. My parents are both Jamaican, so
okay.
They kind of, it's not the same thing, I guess, as like my parents never been strict on like, oh, you have to marry a Jamaican, like that's who you need to be dating. But I think it's within the Nigerian culture, it's a level of pride of like their culture,
Okay.
I don't think they necessarily knock the American culture, but I get what you're saying. Like, why would you knock it if you're here?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, yeah. But you get what I'm saying though.
No,
they
I
feel
see where
like
you're coming
okay,
from.
like America is like this. Then they, like they get into the education and
a lot of them are some superstars when it comes to education. But there's Americans that are also top-notch students too who can perform. So,
and I try to. Well, I don't even try. Like I'm telling them like how many systemic barriers that we are stacked against us as African Americans.
Why add more?
And it's like once I first got to undergrad, I had never seen like Caribbean people, like seriously, like
they don't got no Caribbeans down in Waco.
No, like
interesting.
If I'm telling you, if you're from Waco and you grew up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, I'm not gonna say the name. The only people you saw was white people, Hispanics, and black people. So when I got to undergrad, I was seeing like Caribbean, Nigerian, like all these different people, and I was like, this is like dope. Like and I used to just ask them like all this different type stuff, and it wasn't until later that I found out they don't even like my kind, and I was like, what? But it's like I love like everything about y'all culture, like so it's like
and I feel like lately like there's been a blend with all the cultures, Afro beats, Caribbean music, like it all has been transcended throughout the United States. So I feel like we're moving in a better direction, hopefully, when it comes to that.
I hope so, because every time I try to get a better understanding, it just comes off let me restart. Every time I try to get a better understanding, it just comes off as y'all suck and y'all are lazy and we're not. And I'm like,
it's like a us versus them.
Yeah, and I'm like, I always thought it was just one. But I mean, if you want to separate it, that's cool.
We shall see. Like I said, hopefully that gets better. Is there anything else you have in the works that the people should know about with the Lit Dentist brand? Anything you want to gear up or tee up?
Okay, so I did have Lit Dentist sweaters that I sold out of really quick.
We gotta get some more of those.
It might be a part 2 dropping of that. I'm kind of in the works of a new design. I'm trying to be a little bit more official. So, yeah, I think I don't really got nothing going on, honestly.
Okay. Well, where do people can find you? Where can locate you, see your content, and keep up with you?
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram. I mainly post a lot of things about dentistry on my TikTok as regards to, just life as a dental student. I'm trying to implement my semi-luxury lifestyle that I can't afford. And I feel like my Instagram is just more personalized. Like if you just wanted to get to know me as a person, like that's what my Instagram is geared towards.
Well, brother, I appreciate you so much for coming on to the channel.
Yep, no problem.
I hope you all enjoyed this conversation between Mission of Medicine and Lit Dentists. And remember, it's not a marathon nor a sprint. It's a mission of medicine. Peace out.